Malechem, Malachei Asharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 lay. Yay, lay, 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 yay, lay, 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 lay. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Bachuni l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem l'shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi melech malachei amlachim, Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
And if you've got an empty seat on either side of you, if you'll just sort of scooch over so we can make sure everybody who's looking for seats gets them. If we need to, we can bring some chairs from the outside. We got two in the front. Okay. So there's a famous poem written by Judah Halevi, who was a medieval renowned rabbi, poet, and philosopher who lived most of his life in Muslim Spain. We'll just get settled. It's a famous poem, and the title of it is "My Heart is in the East and I in the West." And the poem has been translated from Hebrew to Arabic and English and all sorts of languages over the years because it captures the yearning that Jews in diaspora have or have had when thinking about our ancestral home. Now, for Judah Halevi, it was the utter memory within a tradition, within prayer of a home. For us today, it's of a place that is very real and very much in many of our hearts. So I'll read it to you, the English translation. My heart is in the east, and I in the uttermost west. How can I savor food? How shall it be sweet to me? How shall I render my vows and my bonds, while yet Zion lieth beneath the fetter of Edom, and I in Arab chains. A light thing would it seem to me to leave all the good things of Spain, seeing how precious in mine eyes to behold the dust of the desolate sanctuary. Friends, welcome, Shabbat Shalom. It's good to be here. Take a look around. You'll see where our exits are in case we need to leave quickly. We're using Mishkan Tefillah as always, which you'll find under your seats or in the chair in front of you, in the pocket in the chair in front of you. Take a moment to turn off your cell phones, still your Apple Watches. Remember, if you get a call in the middle of service, I answer it. Okay? All right, so we are nice and intimate tonight. Soloist Jessica Tillum. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Let's take a moment or two or three. Turn to the people around you, in front of you, behind you. Hi, my name is. Good to see you. Shabbat Shalom. Let's make some real introductions.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
On page 138, you'll find Lechadodi, which is the acrostic poem written by the Lurianic Kabbalists in Sfat, that northern city in Israel, with the idea that the Jewish people and Shabbat are besheret, that we are meant for one another, and when we come together, we are complete and whole, and the world is complete and whole, at least in those moments, like the groom waiting for the bride on their wedding day. Please join us, Lechadodi, page 138.
Lechadodi nikrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, hishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litchila.
Here we go.
Lechadodi,
Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Likrat Shabbat lechu b'necha, ki hi makor habracha, merosh mikidem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila.
Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Verse 5.
Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orek umi ori, 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 shir daberi, kevod Adonai alach kiknikla. Lechadodi,
Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
Lechadodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
We rise and face the door.
Boi בשלום עטרת בנה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חנה, בואי חנה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת לקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קלה, פני שבת לקבלה.
147 on the top, and we'll pray in the English together. There is one who sings the song of his own life, finding everything within himself. There is one who leaves the circle of herself and sings the song of her people. There is one whose voice rings with the song of humanity, hoping for the highest perfection. And there is one who rises even higher, uniting with all creatures, with all worlds, filling the universe with song. Nevarech, let us bless. Baruch Hu, page 146.
Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai. Hamevorah. Baruch Adonai. Hamevorah. Hamevorah. Leolam vaed. Hamevorah. Hamevorah. Leolam vaed.
And as we walked in, the moon was high in the sky. The evening is here. Roll in the dark, you'll find on your back inside cover.
Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Goreon v'layla, Goreon or mipnei choshen, Goreon or mipnei choshen, v'choshen mipnei or.
Here we go. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
So if you'll turn to page 150, you'll find Ahavat Olam. Growing up in rural Georgia, the phrase "Jesus loves you" is one that we have all seen on bumper stickers and billboards all over the place. But unlike our Christian peers, many of us Jews do not find ourselves discussing the love that God has for us out loud very often. To me, it feels like a palpable truth, a foregone conclusion, but kind of like the unconditional love that my parents have for me, or my 1.5-year-old who, although I think he's a genius, does not speak fluent English or any language really. But along with the morning prayer of Ahava Rabbah, Ahavat Olam is a chance that we get to voice and centralize God's eternal and great love for the people of Israel. God loves each of us in many ways, one of which being, of course, the physical, eternal evidence that we find in the Torah. I've always loved this prayer. I love Debbie Friedman's version of this prayer. Edie Summerfield shared a few months ago with me a video of this creator, Rick Lupert, and his wife doing Ahavat Olam combined with a contemporary anthem of love that I'm sure everyone in this room will recognize. A song that portrays overwhelming feeling of falling in love and not being able to resist those emotions. So please sing along when you can and feel the love. And are we standing?
Let's sit for this. We'll stand again for the Shema.
Okay.
And Ray and Judy, come on right to the front. There you go.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Torah umitzvot, hukim umishpatim, otanu limadeta. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Okay, Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbeinu uvkumeinu nasiach b'shukecha v'nitzmach b'divrei toratecha v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Like a river flows surely to the sea, darling, so it goes. Some things are meant to be. Ki heim chayenu v'orech yameinu uvahem neheyomam v'layla neheyomam v'layla. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. Be'ahavatcha al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael, ohev amo Yisrael. For I can't help falling in love with you.
We feel our feet on the ground. You'll find the Shema on page 152. Nice deep breath together. Centered. Here we go.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. On page 155, you'll find an interpretation of V'ahavta, which is the second part of the Shema. So let's pray in the English together, and then we'll chant traditionally right after that. So 155, the V'ahavta Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind the words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you're tired or you're rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in the forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside your gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, bechol levavcha v'chol nafshecha, u'vechol me'odecha, ve'hayu hadevarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom alevavecha, vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, u'lechtecha v'aderech, u'shachbecha u'kumecha,
u'kshartam le'ot al yadecha,
v'hayu totafot b'neinecha, u'ftavtam amazazot beitecha, u'visharecha, leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'tem kiddushim le'elohechem, ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. 157. At the top, we'll pray the English together. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Michamocha, page 158. Michamocha ba'elim Adonai, Michamocha ne'edar b'kodesh, Noratehi lo roshe felet, Noratehi lo roshe felet. Manechutecha ra'uvanecha, Bokei hayom lifnei Moshe, Zeiliyanu ve'ameru, Zeiliyanu ve'amru, Adonai imlo le'olam vad, Adonai imlo le'olam vad. One of the things I love about our Friday night service is that it allows space for all sorts of emotions, meaning different prayers reflect different emotions, and it allows space for different things happening in our lives and in the world. And so some of the prayers for the Friday night service are really quite upbeat and joyful, and other ones are, I think, placed there to help us acknowledge when life and the world is not all rainbows and unicorns. And the Hashkivenu prayer is, for me, that main prayer on Friday night. So if you look at page 160, we'll pray in the English together, and then we'll sing some of the Hebrew. You'll see that this prayer is speaking to us very much at this moment. Together, grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem.
Hashkiveinu Adonai
Eloheinu l'shalom
V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim Ushmor tzeiteinu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata ve'adolam.
Here we go. Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim
Hashkiveinu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom V'hamideinu shomreinu l'chaim.
163 on the top. Together, we are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. Vashamru, page 162.
V'shamru
B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'doratam berit olam V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'doratam berit olam Beini u'bein B'nei Yisrael Oti le'olam Oti le'olam Oti le'olam V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'doratam berit olam Ki sheishet yamim asa Adonai et hashemayim ve'et haaretz V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'doratam berit olam Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash Shabbat v'inafash V'shamru B'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat Lasot et ha-Shabbat L'doratam berit olam. So one of the advantages of these December Friday nights is we get to be in here because we're a smaller group and the acoustics are great. We don't even need a microphone for you, we just do it for the folks online. And you can see the decor of this very simple chapel. You've got the seasons represented by life cycles over here, and the Ner Tamid up top says Kol HaNishama to Hallelujah, which means with every breath we should praise God, meaning our breathing itself should do it. You got our 10 Commandments and our Torah, and it's comfortable. It's comfortable and it's easy, and it's more conducive to a casual environment. So traditionally what we've been doing for the last 9 years that I've been here anyway, is on Friday nights when we're in here, it's more of a casual conversation rather than a sermon. So for those of you who haven't received the myriad of emails from us, Marita and I are heading to Israel tomorrow. We're actually going to New York at 6 p.m. and then hopping on a 2 a.m. to Tel Aviv on El Al. And we're going on a volunteer mission trip. So it's a group of 10 of us. We're going with a travel agency that I trust very much, and we've been doing all of our synagogue trips through this group. It's called Keshet. Most of the folks who are going on this are rabbi types and spouses. I don't know any of them. None of them are from here. And the plan is, and the plan has changed so many times, I actually finally said to Jeff Winston, who runs Keshet, I said, you know what, just tell me the night before what we're supposed to be doing, and we'll go, because they're changing things because they have to. And I'm good with that. These are American guys who moved there in the 70s, and they really have their act together and understand Americans and what we're looking to do. So mostly, it looks like the days we're going to be harvesting crops that are rotting on the vine, because the folks who usually are harvesting them are on the front lines with the IDF, or half joking have gone back to Thailand. And that's actually not really a joke, because the Thai government has pulled its people back, and a lot of the Thai workers do some of the crop work. We're going to be in hospitals, doing whatever unskilled labor does in hospitals, and whatever they tell us to do. But what we've been instructed is that they're going to be very long work days, to bring work gloves, to bring warm clothes, to bring cold clothes, and sort of just be ready. Sounds good. We're also going to be meeting with families of hostages, kidnapped hostages who are still in Gaza, who are trying to get their story out. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, as well as various lines of soldiers. So Marita, has purchased 150 pairs of wool socks and gloves and feet warmers, because we're not bringing that much stuff, but we clearly have to bring some, and we'll distribute these as we can, as well as the 2 feet worth of letters that the congregation has handwritten. Okay, that's going to do some good things. And I think last I checked, there's something like $18,000 that the congregation has donated that we're going to give away while we're there. Apparently there's tremendous need. So you've heard all of that before. The last couple days have been, there's been sort of a strange zeitgeist in our house, because we're leaving. And again, most of us know each other well, but not all of us know each other. So we have a 17-year-old Mac, and a 15-year-old Moses, and an 11-year-old Lulu. And, growing up in my house, my parents somehow their rule was, don't argue in front of the kids, and, don't talk about anything important. We totally don't do that. Like there's very little that is not said and heard in this house, just that we don't know how to do it. So the kids sort of have picked up on a lot of this, the angst that we've been feeling getting ready to go over. And I love Israel. I've spent a tremendous amount of time there. Eventually, I have dreams of retiring there. We have family there. We have good friends. We've studied there. We know it really well. And but the last couple of days, there's been sort of an intensity around the house. Normally, as we're getting ready to go to Israel, there's excitement, and there might be how can we get it all done? But it's very positive, and this feels understandably less positive. We're not going to have an adventure, right? We're not bringing 80 congregants with us for mostly first timers to Israel. It's a very different type of trip. So my wife, Marita, who most of you know, and she's a hospital chaplain, and she's super Jewishly educated and continues her Jewish education. She and I have very different styles about how we are able to approach things. We've seen this before, including events post-October 7th. So for me, I'm sensitive. What can I tell you? When I hear about the tragedies, I sort of need the headlines and a line or two below it, hyperbolically, to understand what's going on. But I can't watch the extreme videos and the violence that's included in them. I just can't do it. I also have never watched a Holocaust movie more than once. I get it, right? Holocaust museums, I go to them when I need to bring groups, but I get it. My wife has a very different approach, and that is she feels that she must watch those details and really delve into those details to bear witness. And she'll do it with tears streaming down her face. She says, if I don't do it, if we don't do it, who is going to? It's a very different approach. And, there's advantages to mine and advantages to hers, but it essentially just comes down to how we're built. Right? I just can't do that, and she is very much able to do that. Me, I like the bigger projects, meaning let's get together with our Baptist minister friends and get the congregations together and get the politicians coming to Temple Emanu-El and try and do work from here, as opposed to really sort of bearing witness. So I'm listening today to a podcast that she insisted I listen to, which happens often, but rarely do I listen to them. And that's not because they're not good, but mostly, again, because I can only take so much. And that's the advantage of, I guess, doing it from here. I mean, we have our own stuff that we're dealing with, but for the most part, if I don't want to listen to something, I don't, or if I don't want to see something, I can just look the other way, as opposed to in Israel, where they have a very different zeitgeist and atmosphere. So she tells me, you have to listen to the Barry Weiss podcast. So for those of you, some of you may know Barry Weiss. She was a New York Times writer from a couple years ago and got into it with the Times for their anti-Jewish bias, left the Times with the appropriate amount of attention that she was leaving for this reason, and she's been successful in starting, something, I think it's called the Free Press, and anyway, she's good. She's a thought leader. I feel like she's one of us. She's, I don't know, probably in her late 30s, early 30s. She's very smart. And she was interviewing today, or I guess it was a couple days ago, but I heard it today, some of the folks from Kibbutz Azari, which is on the Gaza border. And to sort of recall some of the stories, because there's been so many stories. This is the one about the two twin infants who were rescued. Mom and dad, had been murdered in the pogrom. The kibbutz of 900, something like 63 had been killed. Of the 200-something hostages, 18 had come from this kibbutz. And so she was, miraculously, without spoiling it, these two infants were alive, but their parents were not. And who was Barry Weiss interviewing but the aunt and uncle from the kibbutz, who are also young. They're all in their sort of, early to mid-30s. So the aunt and uncle were doing a tour, or are doing a tour of the U.S., and they were in Los Angeles. And one of the first questions that Barry Weiss asked them, and she's good at sort of slowing things down so we could feel what it was like, and not to be voyeuristic. I mean, it really is, how can we, who haven't experienced this, through their experience, somehow take things away and understand where they're coming from, right? Sort of, giving ourselves the benefit of the doubt, that we want to hear the story, but not for any other reason than we want to bear witness, and it's not, anything, untoward or anything like that. So they were doing this, they're telling their story of what happened on the evening and the day and the days that followed, and 20 hours of, the dad, the uncle holding the door to the safe room while the mom was trying to keep the 1-year-old quiet as there's bombs going on and fires all around, and they can hear Arabic being spoken all around outside. So just sort of ground zero of everything, and the frustration of not having the military come and the WhatsApp blowing up with everything else that was going on. So really hearing it. And at the end of the interview, she says, listen, essentially, thank you for sharing this story. Why are you going around and sharing it? And the aunt and uncle said, who have a 1-year-old of their own or a 10-month-old of their own, said that they were touring around because of certain statistics that they had heard and seen in America, including something like 70% of Americans 18 to 24 either don't believe that it happened the way that Israel is saying it happened, or that somehow it was all deserved. Everything that happened was deserved. And so they were coming around to tell the story and to tell it as firsthand witnesses and folks who experienced this horror as a way of actively combating as best they could what was being said. Now, clearly what they're doing is a drop in the bucket, but Barry Weiss has several million listeners and so on and so forth. So as I'm listening to this, and it's very hard to listen to, hard, heavy, and hard. I'm getting ready to go home and clean up a little bit and to come here tonight, and I realized that I had not sat down with any of my kids and really had a conversation about how do they feel about us going, and what were their questions, and did they understand why we were going. And my kids are smart kids. Like Jess says, her kid's a genius, my kid's a genius too. They're all the Jewish kids are geniuses, right? Yeah, but they're smart kids. And I know they had expressed some of this to Marita, but I hadn't had the conversation with them. So I went to the 15-year-old's room, and he was doing some work, and I asked him to put the work down. I said, hey, we haven't had this conversation. How do you feel about Mom and I going? And he said, I think it's a terrible idea. I said, okay, why? He said, it's dangerous, things can happen, people get captured and taken to Gaza. I said, okay, I'm very confident that that's not going to happen to us and we're going to be okay. And he said, well, what if the northern front opens up and Hezbollah starts firing rockets and then you guys are stuck there? Okay, now that's not an easy answer. I said, all right. And he said, and I don't think what you guys are doing is worth the risk. Fair. I said, well, what do you think we're doing? And he basically said it. I said it's a little bit more nuanced than that, but he basically got it. And he said, it's not worth it. I said, okay, Mo, well, first of all, Mom and I feel compelled to go, like in our guts, in our kishkas. And the fact that we haven't gone yet has been one of the hardest things that has happened to us. And in the same way that if you were in trouble or hurting somewhere else, that we would want to go to you, even if we couldn't do a whole lot, just to be with you. And that's honestly how Mom and I feel about all of the Israelis. We haven't met the vast majority of them, but we really feel a sense of mishpacha, which in modern terms we'd say is peoplehood. And Mo, even if what we're doing is just, a tiny drop in the bucket, it's better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing. And the idea that we're coming and we can show the Israelis that they're not alone, and that we and each of the rabbis who are on this little trip represent entire congregations, and not just congregations of Jews, that there's lots and lots of non-Jews that are very supportive of Israel, so they don't feel alone, and we can help people out because we have tzedakah to give. Okay. So we sort of, he nodded his head like, I get it, I still don't want you to go, but I'm not going to change your mind. And my answer was, you're not going to change your mind, but you have good points, and I'll call you all the time. Okay. Then I go to the 17-year-old who just got his wisdom teeth out yesterday, 2 days ago. Poor kid. It's great videos, though, from him right afterwards. But he's in bed, and I go and start the conversation the same way, and he has a different approach. He says, "Look, I'm feeling guilty that I'm not going." And I said, "Well, I'm glad you're not going. I don't think it's safe enough for you to go." And that's what he said. He looked at me and he said, "Aha," right? Like, "Okay, Dad." Same sort of conversation, except for, he said, I'd like to be doing things. I'm frustrated. He's been trying to engage people on social media to a certain extent. He's speaking out. He's a proud, educated Jewish person and speaking out. So in the end, we will go home tonight and we'll have Shabbat dinner. I noticed that when I dropped off my daughter at the airport this morning, and by the way, you want a busy scene, the airport the Friday before Christmas is a zoo, but my 11-year-old, and again, I forgot to talk to her about it, but I noticed she hugged me, a lot longer than she usually does. So here we are, we'll go home, we'll have Shabbat dinner. I'm sure it will be, a meaningful time because we all know, sort of what's going on and where we're going, and I feel very confident that we're not in danger. And yet, what ended up coming out of my conversation with Mac and then Marita, and I guess this is how I'll wrap it up. I'm not afraid of my physical safety. What I am afraid of, and that may be not the right word, is that I am going to be forced to see and hear and feel and not be able to turn the channel or not click on a link or whatever it is. And that goes against, as I started, sort of goes against my natural strengths or proclivities. And yet, to sort of gird our loins to bear witness, and we owe it to them to be there for them and bear witness and share and write and post and talk and try to garner our strength as we go through wherever we are to whatever the next step is and the step after that. And I'll report back when I get back, maybe before. Any questions? Seriously, we can do it. Yeah, Carol? So we're gone for 10 days. 8 of those days we're on this volunteer mission, and the last 2 days we're staying with Marita's grandmother, who's 89 years old, in her little apartment in Herzliya. It'll be intimate. But it'll be great to see her, and she'll make us fish head soup, and it'll be delicious. Other questions? Yeah, Rich. Yeah, so actually, I think we're staying in hotels in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem, and I think we are visiting most of the kibbutzim that were hit. So I think that's sort of the day. I think we're going to the various kibbutzim, and then we're doing agricultural work or hospital work around there, and then back. What I've been told is plan on very early mornings and very late nights because of the travel. Knowing that, like I said, that the itinerary's already changed, and doesn't matter to me. I have work gloves. I'll do whatever. Maccabee said to me when I told him we were picking, he said, "That sounds very biblical. You're going there to pick crops, so that they don't wither." Yeah, Marlene.
A couple questions. Where did Lulu go?
She went to stay with my parents in Florida. Thank you for asking.
That's good. Who's with the boys?
My aunt Sherry. And I hear there's a big rager on New Year's Eve, so no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, yeah, so my aunt's there. My father-in-law's coming in for a couple days, and he'll drive them around, and hopefully I have a house standing when I get back. I know. I have told them there's going to be surprise visits. I just haven't told them who. I will post, yeah.
I hear you talk about all the groups that support us.
Yeah.
And I know there are those out there.
Yeah,
But when I watch what's happening with the college students,
yeah,
when I watch what's happening, the pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas, thousands of people
Yep.
marching, it scares me.
yeah, scares me too.
It scares me for my grandchildren.
Yep,
And what do we do about it?
Yeah.
It's all over.
yep. So, yeah, we've had, it's not a short answer, other than that is a lot of what we do at a Temple Emanu-El for the last 9 weeks straight. That's what we're doing, and happy to talk to you afterwards about some of the things that we're doing and that folks like us are doing, and ways to influence legislation and activity on campus. So we're involved. there are things to be done. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's rise for, Susan?
Is there a prayer we should say before you move, when you say?
Before I leave? That is nice. You want to do it? You want to do it? We could do something. Jess, can we do a priestly benediction? Can we do that? All right, everybody, if you want to stand up. All right. Yes, yes. All right, so will you put hands on the people in front of you and the people next to you, and let's go reach across the aisles like the good Republicans and Democrats that you are. Okay, and will you guys put hands on me, please? All right, and I will pass this on to Marita.
Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichoneka. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
You guys are the best. All right. Let's remain standing, please, for our Amidah, our central prayer, which you'll find on page 164.
Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chastei Abot v'Imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'Nehem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atah Rav leHoshia. Mashiv haruach u'marid hagashem, Mechalkel chayim bechesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim. Somech noflim ve'rofei kolim, Umatir asurim, umechayim emunato, lishenei afar, michamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melach, melech meimit, umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'chol yom yalucha stela. Baruch atah Adonai, Hayel hakadosh.
Continue with the words of your prayer book or the words of your heart. When your prayer is finished, please feel free to have a seat. Our rabbis say that whenever we are praying that we need to pray for peace, even if it is so elusive. Peace in our hearts, peace amongst neighbors, peace amongst nations. Page 178, you'll find Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael
President Bill Kellert. Hi, Bill. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom. Good Shabbos. Wonderful to see you all here and be able to celebrate Shabbat together again. Thank you to our ushers this evening, Gail Zimmerman and Sheila Bialis. We truly appreciate your help. And a special thank you to all of you who volunteer your time to help make ours the wonderful community it is. So many activities and classes going on here. However, there are 3 events I want to point out. Thursday, January 4th at 7 o'clock, Wendy Dubin will be leading a class entitled From Trauma to Resilience, a way to deepen our understanding of trauma, resilience, and post-traumatic growth in the aftermath of October 7th. And starting Monday, January 8th at 7 o'clock via Zoom, Alon Weissmark will be leading a class called Foundations of Prayer, where you'll delve into the meanings, traditions, and nuances of different prayers. Finally, and please take special note, Friday, January 12th will be the Georgia Legislative and Martin Luther King Jr. Shabbat. We'll be hosting here several dozen elected officials, mostly from the Georgia State Legislature, for Shabbat dinner and services. This is going to be our opportunity to let them know what we've been feeling and experiencing and explain the need to pass House Bill 30, the anti-Semitism bill. We need a large turnout, and I hope I can count on you all. For this and other programs, please be sure to refer to your emails and our website for details and registration. Did you know that 145 years ago today, in 1878, the poet Naftali Herz Imber wrote the words for Hatikvah, the poem which eventually became the national anthem of the state of Israel. Another example of the yearning for the land of Israel, like the poem that Spike talked about to begin tonight. If you're a new member, prospective member, just visiting, we'd appreciate it if you'd introduce yourself to the clerk, to the rabbis, and myself during the onik, so we can personally welcome you if we haven't already done so. Thank you. Bring them home, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Bill. Thanks. So friends, we're getting to our Shehechianu moment, and this is where we get a chance to share a simcha happening in our life, something that just happened, that is happening, that's about to happen, that you want to share. So the tradition is that you stand up, you say your name, and what your simcha is. You want to start, Leslie?
I would love to start.
Yeah.
My name is Leslie Franco, and my second son got engaged this week.
Hey, Mazel Tov. That's a big deal.
I finally get a second daughter.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations, guys.
Thank you.
Anybody from this side? Go ahead, Norman.
So I'm Norman Zoller. We're going to be gone for about a week because I like to celebrate a significant birthday. It's kind of like whatever it is the new 40. It happens on Thursday. So if you see it, you can speak to her about what the new 40 is.
Mazel Tov, Harriet. Others from this in this section here? Simcha, you want to do it? Go ahead.
My name is Leah Chosma, and
Nice and loud, though.
my name is Leah Chosma, and for the first semester I got all 8.
Okay, that's what I like to see. Moving across. Okay. Yeah?
My name is Carol Enos, and it may sound small, but I took my grandchildren ice skating today.
Yeah, that's great. We need it. Come on, just give us good news. And you didn't fall. That's great. Yeah?
Chuck was given an award from Japan. Japanese Foreign Minister for his work with the United States and Japan.
Okay. Arigato gozaimasu. Okay, guys. Others, yeah. That's great. That's great. Others? Yeah?
I'm Ariane Belzer-Carroll, and I submitted a proposal to write a chapter in a book on neurodivergent readings of Torah. And also, we've been married for 4 years and no one's dying.
Yeah. Congratulations on both. So, friends, when we know that we are celebrating sacred time or experiencing sacred time, we Jews pray Shehechianu. Literally, thanks God for allowing us to be here, that we can be together. Can we please have sacred moments together again and again and again? Please join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu
Lazman hazeh. Page 371, you'll find our Misha Berach prayer. Misha Berach is the prayer that we say when we are asking for a healing of somebody in our lives, and maybe it's you, and you could say it for yourself, a healing of mind, of body, of soul, of relationship. The congregation asks for Refuah Shlema for Rob Gilbert, Brenda Grazier, Charlie Cohn, David Blass, Koska Miskoji, Aaron Silverman, Diane Cohen, Leslie Greenberg, Edie Disner, Jerry Penn, Jeff Syme, Marsha Holler, Nora Florsheim, Benny Edelson, Ken Schiffer, Karnina Michal Bat Yitzchak Vitova, Jennifer Herman, Mark Lodinger, Jesse Makazian, Max Krohn, Yehudit Bat Yocheved, Aaron Ben Batya, Ellen Lickman, Stanley Apple, James Lipsky, Herbert Jeminek. If you have a name of somebody that you would like to say Misha Berach for, you can do so with my eyes meet yours, either out loud or in your hearts. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
John Tracy.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Brian Rudolph.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jane Burke.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, as is the Minhag HaMakom, please rise. If you're comfortable putting your arms around the people next to you, please do so. If you have no one to put arms around, feel my arms around yours. Misha Berach.
Misha Berach Avotenu Ekor HaBracha Imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Ekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Refuah shlema. Okay, actually, yeah, we go. Okay, Leah, you want to come on up and help us with Kiddush and opening the Ark? So, Andy, will you take these and just pass them out? Leah, take one.
All right, so folks, we're going to say Kiddush, and in doing so, sanctify the day, sanctify this community, sanctify this mission.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikarei kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim ki vanu v'acharta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha v'yava uvratzon hin kaltanu. Put it up. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-shabbat. Amen. L'chaim l'bracha, to life with blessings. All right, please remain standing for Aleinu, which you'll find on 586. You want to open the ark here? There you go. You do one side, I'll do the other. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol
Latek gidula yotzer breshit shelo asanu k'veyei haratzot velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama shelo sam kelkenu kahem v'gor aleinu v'ol hamonam v'anachnu korim umistachavim umodim lifnei melech Malchei HaMalchim HaKadosh Baruch Hu V'nemar V'haya Adonai Lemelech Al Kol Haaretz Bayom Mahu Yeh Adonai Echad U'Shemo Echad. Please be seated. Okay. Final lap as we get ready for our Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 598. We say Mourner's Kaddish at the end of the service and invoke the names of the people who we loved and loved us and have died either recently or at this season in years past, because it helps elevate the time. It actually brings the time to a place that is more sacred. In Shiva, we acknowledge the family of Harvey Apple. In Shloshim, the families of Shirley Spitz, Louis Baum, Bernie Lynn, Ellen Hine, Linda Johnson, and Susan Jacobs. Yard sites, the Shabbat for David Adelman, Nate Arrett, Israel Bear, Herman Boaz, David Brannon, Irving Cohen, Suzanne Davidson, Ezra Eisenberg, Loretta Gilman, Abe Gilmer, Carol Gittes, Eugene Goldman, Katie Grief, Ruth Hochberg, David Hurwitz, Rosalie Jaslow, Chuck Cast, Lawrence Marcus, Isaac Matalski, Alice Mordler, Irving Nathan, Stephen Niger, Sarah Nisen, David Odreason, Francis Risner, Jean Rosner, Gloria Sack, Benjamin Samsky, Bessie Satloff, Nathan Seidel, Mark Seldis, Yetta Slade, Isidore Smith, Ruth Spiller, Frida Stone, Carol Tittman, Michael Tuckman, Molly Young, Teresa Schwartz. If you are in the Shloshim period of mourning, the first 30 days after a loved one's passing, I'd ask you to rise now and be recognized. And please remain standing. If you're within the first year of mourning a loved one's passing, Please rise now and be recognized. If you are commemorating the yard site, the death anniversary of a loved one's passing this Shabbat, we ask you to rise now and be recognized. And if it is your custom to rise in solidarity, or for the 6 million who have no one to say Kaddish for them, we ask you to do so now. Take a moment and just picture the person who you're thinking of in your mind's eye, and picture them right next to you. Picture them healthy and hale and strong, feeling their presence. And in this moment, they turn towards you. Your eyes meet theirs. Your gazes meet. And together, you slowly smile. Mourner's Kaddish, page 598. Yit Gadal, V'yit Gadash Me Rabba, Be'alma Divrach Hirotei, V'yamlich Machotei, V'chayechon, V'yomechon, V'chayeh Dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagalav Izman Kariv Vimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba, Mevarach Le'elam Malamei Amaya. Yit Barach, V'yishtabach, V'yit Par, V'yit Raman, V'yit Naseh. Vita dar, vita le, vita la shmeda kucha, berichu, la ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush becharta v'nechamata, damiram be'alma v'imru, amen. He shlamba rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom b'imru mav, huya se shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lecha min haaretz, amen. Shabbat shalom, everyone.